Any resident of the state on the date of that person's conviction will register as a sex offender. At the end of this introduction, did you catch the image of the child's mouth? It's there to represent the children and young adults that are placed on the registry, who now have a public label on them for the rest of their lives. In Delaware, a statistic from 2011 shows that 639 children were on the registry, and 55 of them were under the age of 12. In this graph, something may stand out to you. I'll give you just a second to take a look. Okay, did you see it? Sexual assault against juveniles committed by strangers is relatively low compared to sexual assault against juveniles by acquaintances or family members. I wanted to show these graphs because a big reason people think the registry is helpful is to prevent assaults from strangers, because parents may be more vigilant if they are aware that a stranger who committed a sex offense lives near them. However, from these graphs alone, we can see that that is not the case. In Andrew and Bonta's 2010 research paper analyzing a risk-need responsivity model, they explained the use of analyzing offenders and how it could create a more specific criminological need-based intervention. A quote from them explains why roping every offender under the same blanket doesn't make any sense. The quote, "Unfortunately, legislative and other interventions designed to protect the public from sex offenders often have been implemented without regard to important differences among individuals who commit these crimes. Not all sex offenders are the same. Research evidence on effective correctional practice stresses the value of moving beyond one-size-fits-all approaches." For example, there are over 800,000 Americans on sex offender registries, and the crimes range from rape to sexting. But every person in many states must follow the exact same restrictions. No other crime is treated that way. Even crimes involving the killing of another person have different punishments depending on the case. Another way to look at this is to examine the way in which we treat sex offenders in comparison to offenders of other crimes. A man on the registry came to our class and explained how when he goes to work parties or things like that, people who've been to prison, besides him, will almost brag about what it was like in there, and how people will comment positives like how cool it must have been, or what he did to go and how he got out. Things like that. The man we spoke to could not relate to this feeling. He explained that he knew if he mentioned anything about being in prison or anything about his story, he would be seriously harmed. A short video on YouTube explains the life of a woman who is now on the registry for the rest of her life. After a law placed preventing registered sex offenders from being in public parks, she had to tell her daughter that it was the last time she would ever be able to take her to the park.